Alright, so for today's project, we're going to be changing the cables on a Shimano shifter. This is the EF-51. It's from their kind of 2-in-1 series where both the shifter and the brake lever are part of one unit. My neighbor came and complained about rough shifting when I took a look at the bike. You can see down here that the cables are really rusted out. And what happens is when the cables get rusty like this, it causes a lot of drag in the cable housing, which makes it really difficult to shift. And they've got so much drag that they cannot get the front derailleur to shift all the way into the top, our outermost chainring. So we're just going to swap out these cables by opening this up, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we'll dive into this project. Okay, to start, you're going to want to get yourself a small screwdriver, something like this. You can also use a bit out of a screwdriver set that's got a small tip on it. And what we're going to do is unscrew the two screws that are exposed onto the top of this. And it's not difficult, and I've been working on this one a little bit, so this is going to come out pretty easily. I've got this one over here. Now, the thing about these screws, just to warn you, is that the location of them makes them susceptible to getting a lot of sweat on them if the rider who's riding this bike is actually riding hard, and they might get stuck pretty good. Okay, so in order to get this particular screw out, I've had to go from the screwdriver to a ratcheting system here, and this will allow me to put a ton of force down while I slowly twist it, and that will allow me to get it to start to come out. And oftentimes what happens is once these break loose, then you can get them out even using your fingers. So I'm just going to roll here, roll that screw on out, and once the screw comes out, make sure you put those screws in a safe place. Once the screw comes out, then this cap will just come right off like this. Now, as you dive into this, one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you are in the lowest gear. And that will position the cable right here at the top. So what happens is if I am in another gear, I can't access the cable properly. There's too much tension here. But if I go all the way down, I can get to the cable in a proper manner. So once I've got the top of it exposed here, now we need to go to the derailleur itself and unlatch the cable there and then pull it through. Okay, so down here at the rear derailleur, we've got the attachment bolt or the anchor bolt for the cable here. So we're just gonna undo that. It doesn't have to come all the way out, just loose enough to get the cable out. You pull it from the back side there, and then it will come free like that. Now we have to pull it back through here, and because it's got this anchor tie, this cable tie at the end of it, we're going to have to cut that off in order to pull it through. I would recommend actually investing in a proper pair of cable cutters. Somebody gave us a gift card to REI, and we picked up these Park Tool cable cutters. Is pretty much the best purchase we've ever made. That kind of defeats the purpose of this channel as being the average guy, but if there's one tool that you know you'll need over and over, it's a cable cutter, and that works absolutely amazing and gives you this clean cut at the end. And once that's open and this system is ready to go, we can just start pulling the cable through the cable housings and pull it all the way back up. Pull it all the way back up, and you can see here I've got these kind of rubber protectors here. This keeps the cable off the frame, so I can pull those off there, and I'll reuse them on the new cable. And once that's done, you can see here now is I've got the cable up here. It's about ready to come out. So the best way to do this, let me move my light here, is to pull back the cable housing here so that you have room here to play with this. And you're going to have two hands to be able to do this. which means I'm going to need to put the camera down and swap camera angles. So now that I can get two hands in here, the key is that you just got to get this little end undone. And it might mean that you need to get another little flat screwdriver or something to help you out with that. Okay, a little closer look here, and it has to come out through this space here, but so I've slid the screwdriver up underneath here, and you can see the head start to lift out. And the key is to just kind of keep pushing at it until you get the head up at a right angle like that, and then it will slide out and get free of this whole system here. And then once it's free of the whole system, then you can just go ahead and pull it on through. And you could see the color here change. This cable is so rusty. It was really impeding the shifting process. So that's the cable out. And now in order to fix this, we just got to reverse it and put a new cable back in. Okay, so time for a new cable. If you want to know where to get a good cable, just go to your local bike shop and ask the mechanic if he has cables. They sell fancy packaged cables in the store probably, and they can get a little bit expensive, but if you go back to the mechanic shop, you can usually pick up a cable for a couple of bucks. I got some at REI, for instance, for about $3 for a cable. So that's what I did here. I went to my local bike shop and asked the mechanic directly. He has a box of Shimano branded cables. So they're nice quality, and they're pretty cheap. About $1.50 or $2 is what I paid for these overseas. So it's real simple. You want to make sure that you go back through this hole that's in the shifter, and that should set you up almost for a clean dive into this part of it. Now, you want to be real careful not to fray the end of this, and so whatever you need to do to make that happen, I found it easier to take the housing out, to fish it through here, and then once it's out, then I can begin to feed it through the cable housing, being real careful with it not to fray the end of it. And you just feed it through slowly like this. And you can watch for it to come out the other end. And when it comes out the other end, then we can pull it through from there. And I'll show you. Just came out here. I can just go ahead and pull it through like that. And you can see here that the cable then will set up in place. We might have to help it just kind of nudge down in there, just like that. And that cable is back in place and ready to go. So I fished those rubber grommets back on here. And then up underneath the bike, you can see up underneath here, there's a particular spot that this cable needs to go. And it has to be fished through there, little eyelet there. So you can just fish it in there. You can just fish it in there like that. Try to get a good angle on that. You can see there, and just push that through. You can even pull it. Makes things a lot easier. That puts us right up here to our last cable housing. And again, we're just going to fish it through here. If that's at all tricky, you just take the housing out. See, it's going to come around. Now, this is pretty typical. That's a real tight bend there, and so the cable oftentimes wants to do funny things, and so sometimes it can be easier to take it off and try to fish it through at the end here. Sorry about all the funny camera work. That proved a little trickier than I thought it was going to be because of the bend here. I have to try to fish that cable through there, but you see what I have to do with my fingers is straighten the cable, the cable housing as much as I can, so that the cable will sit right through the end of it, and you just gently push until it comes out, and then once it's good, then you're able to set it up here into the bike. Let's see if I can do this quickly and simply, and then we fish that back through here. Fish this through here on the derailleur, pull it through. Again, using your hands to help the cable housing. And then we need to reattach it here on the derailleur. So we just slide the cable up underneath here. And you need each derailleur attaches a little bit differently. So you need to see how your cable attaches. Just pull that cable as tight as you can. And then go ahead and cinch it down. So now that's attached down here, I'm good to go on the rear end. Come up here, make sure everything's okay here. So all I need to do is put that cap back on. So just set it on there like this. Really simple. Make sure those screw holes are lined up. Set those screws in place. Then we'll get our screwdriver and we'll tighten them down. Hand tighten those down. And that is how you change a cable on the Shimano EF-51 shifter.